this isn't really a bad subject I'm covering, but I didn't know I would thought about making a follow up to this. So, roughly 2 or 3 weeks ago, I made a video about my excitement for the announcement of Zach Cregger's project for Resident Evil, and I made it no secret on that video that I am a fan, but I also made it no secret that the fandom and people who know Resident Evil through Resident Evil 8 precisely, I have no distaste for. I hate him, absolutely hate him. Well, it's just the best way I can explain it is that I don't care that they found a Resident Evil game through it. That they only did it for, 9 foot tall vampire lady who I believe is canonically lesbian. Not that they'll listen. But recently, a video came out on Zach Cregger covering it. Like, it wasn't long, it was like a minute and a half, like 2 minutes and a half, talking about his, like, how he'd react if he was immediately sent into, like, the world of Resident Evil. And it had some funny moments, especially the part where the actor Brian Abrams, I believe his name was, if I remember correctly, tries to shoot a lock and he just misses. And so, on Twitter, I made the mistake going on Twitter and looking through, just rummaging through, and someone dropped something that he said in a news article. I couldn't find a news article anywhere, mainly because it was probably so far down, because it's probably a news article thing that releases every 20 fucking minutes. But it's him explaining, like talking about the divided reaction for the film. And he says, quote, "There are so many people that clearly really want the video game, meaning the characters and the story from the video, and anything different that is really not welcomed. I didn't realize how passionate some people were about that." For me, personally, I don't think it was people who are passionate about it. It's just those who only want the characters. And if they want any film that has any of their own characters, there's the animated films and the animated series right out there. You have to look for it, but it's there and amazing. And like the second thing he says is that if I did that, I don't think I'd be creatively fulfilled, and I don't even think they would enjoy it. If I did the story of the games, I think the most diehard fans would be bummed. I don't know what to do about it. And he's right. Like, if you regurgitate the same story over and over again, because that's what the Paul Anderson films did. That's what fucking Johannes Roberts films did. That they all focused around the virus and Raccoon City as a whole, with stars, RPD, Leon, Claire, especially like Welcome to Raccoon City's one. While I did enjoy it, there were some points where it just didn't click in my brain, which is where I lead to a post that I talked about at the end of my last video about this, where they came forward, it was a TikTok comment, and they were talking about how it was never really focused on the characters. Without the characters, there would still be the BOWs and the zombies. Hell, like Resident Evil 7 is based on a bacterial mold in the form of a child. And again, Resident Evil 8 doesn't even have zombies at all. It's wolves and vampires and witches. So they can't really say that the Resident Evil project is the characters, because Resident Evil 7 revitalized the franchise, by the way. And coming from a fan who may not have been around when the proper first game came out in 96, I was born in 2004, I don't want a film with any of the main characters from the games. They have their stories through, like, I shit you not, films, animated series, games, novels, and graphic novels. They got enough. And these are just people who aren't satiated by anything except for they see that character. And frankly, I'm going to say certain parts, like Resident Evil 5, while the story is good at some points, gameplay is shit, and that game needs a remake. No one can tell me otherwise. Because the AI character, the NPC coding and behavior on it is just... Whew, it's a get a load of this guy kind of thing. But, like, Zachary says, like, he felt like he'd be cheaping out on something that no one else talked about, because everyone knows Leon, Claire, Sherry, Jill, Chris, Wesker, but no one knows a lot of other things, like people who aren't very knowledgeable about Resident Evil, like how some of the hard fans are. They wouldn't know about certain like backgrounds, like in Code Veronica, I believe would be one, because I'm still learning things about that. I can admit it. And there's one I still need to actually look into, which is the Outbreak Files, which was the first online game, or it was a file thing itself. I believe it was a game, because that's where Alyssa Ashcroft came from, which was the mother of Grace Ashcroft from Resident Evil 9. It was sort of like the same thing, like I did the Backrooms video like 2 days ago, where, not 3 days ago actually now, where it's just people, it feels like they're just projecting something just because they can't do it, if that makes sense. And like with other IPs been released, like Devil May Cry, I don't really know enough, and I don't really want to talk about that because yeah, there's a whole wazoo mixture there. And like I said in the last video as well, where people were talking about they don't like the trailer from the get-go because Craig is that it doesn't exactly match Resident Evil. Like I said, if you've seen Weapons and Barbarian, you know the tension he makes. That tension, that horror matches Resident Evil's atmosphere. And in my opinion, I believe he is capable of doing this and completely more. Look, overall, he's free to do it however he wants. I'm excited, and you know, I don't really use this phrase a lot, but I really am sick and tired of fake fans as well. That's something I don't really say a lot. But yeah, again, like I said before, I'm excited to see this film. Again, I'm gonna be watching the Backrooms soon, so you'll be seeing a video on that. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.